Good morning, freedom lovers. How are we today? Well, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm just going to do the water today. I contemplated it. I thought, is it too early for a rum? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But one should probably have breakfast first, I guess. I don't know. I'm still undecided. Look, it is what it is. It's probably a bit early for me, so bear with me while I try and deal with everything. A, somewhat sober, B, in pain, and C, tired. But we're going to rip into this as quickly as we can and get through this, because apparently there's, an appointment that needs to be maintained. So let's get straight into it. G'day, Heidi. How are you?
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for feeding me in earlier than what we had anticipated. But yes, got to pick up a little puppy today. So
that's it. The little puppies need lots of love. So, I couldn't deny that, especially once I've seen the photos that you posted. I'm like, oh, yeah, I can see why you want to get to that real as soon as you can. Yeah. So, your secret not so secret admirer, is been added again. Personally, I don't think this drop kick's worth the time of day myself, but he's been busy and stealing content away from this podcast, like as if he was a member of the mainstream media. These people sit there and want to talk about how they're so good with law and what's right and just in the world, but they just don't seem to have any appreciation for the law and respect themselves. So how do you want to start with this? Should we play what this knob jockey's done, or?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
All right. So, for those of you who don't know about the delusional man himself, Rob Sudi, he's gone through the podcast and grabbed a few choice comments and made a rap song about good old Heidi, including myself in it as well. So, obviously his obsession with Heidi has got a little bit out of hand, and this is what he's done.
Freedom delusional free man delusion. His name is Rob Sudi. If you go delusional, you go into about Rob Sudi and
Freeman delusion.
Freedom delusional. Delusional free man delusion. His name is Rob Sudi. If you go delusional, you go into about Rob Sudi, a sort of international star. Freedom delusional. Delusional free man delusion. Now he's the encyclopedia of pseudo law internationally, sort of international. It's like a bit of a big, encyclopedia of Australia or international.
Recommendation for
Freeman delusion, fuck off and leave me alone. Find someone else or something else better to do. I'm just a dick, right?
Yeah.
Rob does he a dick,
Recommendation for
He's the Rob rap. The pathological pattern of delusion of grandeur that he's made interior. It's a bit of a delusion of grandeur, which is one of the pathological patterns of a narcissist. Sort of international star. Robert Sudi showed every pathological pattern. You can Google it, the DSM-5 Medical Journal International Pathological Patterns of what are narcissistic psychopathies. Delusional free man delusion. I just snapped him one right in the Bob's the dick, don't be a Bob. Freedom delusional. Delusional free man delusion.
Freeman delusion, the organised pseudo-legal commercial argument in Australia.
Wow. He's really got a lot of time on his hands. I guess, selling his own form of garbage seems to be somewhat lucrative for him, and now he's stealing content in order to do it. It's interesting one.
Well, this is
you got to wonder who's the one living in a delusion here.
That's right. He's the one that's actually selling his subscriptions. So he's really creating a narrative. But before I start with it, this isn't tit for tat. I really don't want to get into this either. But we're talking about the system where you should have the right to defend yourself. And this is absolute bullying. This is harassment. This is dangerous, because the next two videos he goes on and he groups me together with individuals, right or wrong. I'm not involved with them. I'm independent. But Desi Freeman, as we all know, is the most wanted man in Australia at the moment. And he's putting me in the same context as that, which is dangerous, because there's rewards out for this man, right? And I'm not going to comment what I think of him. I didn't know Desi Freeman until it was in the paper, right?
Yeah, I don't know him either.
I had no idea who he was. But to really group me into this, potentially is even worse, because he speaks to these professors, David Halfpern or whatever his name is, who did Four Corners, that did the Herald Sun, where I'm also next to Desi Freeman, which shows that he really is the individual behind it, because he actually acknowledges that he speaks to these people, he advises them, he has discussions with them. And, we talk about things like Dolly's Dream and things like this online bullying. And it's personal character assassination, because he's taking his narrative. I have a mortgage. I drive my car. I have a license. I register my car. I'm a normal individual that got stuck in a system that, unless you've got a spare $120,000 to fight something, you have to fight it yourself.
Yeah.
So you either get legal aid if you're under a certain limit. But if you're the average person that goes to work and earns some money, you don't get legal aid. I just got a quote to represent me.
Not that legal aid's of much of an assistance anyway. They usually just advise you to go along with it and take your medicine, and not very helpful at all.
Guilty, that's right. I just got a quote against the Legal Service Commissioner, because that's ongoing, $120,000 to when we're at the trial stage. So a year's surpassed of submissions backwards and forwards. Now, who has $120,000 for a week's trial? And you don't get it back if you lose.
Yeah.
All right, and then you got to pay their costs if you lose. So you're looking at estimated $200,000 if you lose a case. And there's got to be one loser and one winner in a court case. You don't get a tie. So this guy's literally abusing someone's right to stand up for themselves. He's also not doing balanced reporting. So he's got comments on his page that it's all on public record. It might be on public record, but the other cases that, 8 years where they get withdrawn each time they try and give it a go, that's not on record. This guy's never contacted me personally other than an email at the very beginning. We don't know who he is. We've seen one photo of him.
He's got a Facebook profile with about 50 friends on it. I think I've got more people pending that I haven't got around to figuring out if I want to add them in or not, than he has actual friends. So, the profile looks extremely sus.
Well, it's also the way he's, our council's legal. So he's actually trying to draw in sovereign citizens, as he calls them, people that are probably unhappy with paying their $4,000.
Provokes. And again, I can't help but feel, as somebody said, why are we giving this fuckwit air, But it's a demonstration of the system in itself as well, I mean, there is something seriously wrong with our world here, something seriously wrong, like you've pointed out, liberty and justice for all who can afford it to start with. There's a big problem. We've got politicians right here in Townsville with their faces all over trailers, and we've pointed out on the podcast, and many people in the community have called up to say, hey, why are these people doing this? It's against the law. They're not supposed to be doing this. It's actually classified as dangerous to be putting up those big billboards on trailers. These people are running for mayor, for Christ's sake, And what are they worried about? People on a podcast pointing out the error of how the system is, dysfunctional. That's what the world's worried about. That's what the mainstream media and this self-appointed guru of his own delusion. Well, these people are nuts. They've got some serious mental problems. They've got everything's upside down and backwards. And I guess living in this world and believing the bullshit that, is put forth as what we're supposed to go along with. Of course, that's going to send anybody.
Well, this is the irony. This is what's led to the Legal Service Commissioner case against me, which is still ongoing and getting quite interesting after my raid recently, and them trying to contact people without a proper interview, reading the people's rights, just to, hey, do you want to have a chat with us? Which has really offended these people. Yeah, let's just raid the house, see if we can find anything. Let's just, let's try and contact people and see if someone will dob, which is just insane. But that actually stemmed from the judgment HZX versus QPS QSC 168. And that entire judgment was about a magistrate and a prosecution who sent someone to jail for 40 days with a complete deprivation of liberty. But we're not going to talk about that because they have judicial immunity, right?
Yeah.
That's not an issue here, that somebody went to jail and I managed to, through an application one way or the other, get them out.
Yeah. No, the fact that you used an application to get them out is the problem. Like, that's what they're afraid of, that, obviously.
Well, I got the wrong application apparently, but it still worked. So she got out, and the judgment clearly says she had a complete deprivation of liberty. Now, that individual was put back in front of the same man who sent her to jail, who refused to, magistrate who refused to recuse himself. Now, to me, wouldn't that be a topic of conversation? Rather than trying to find anything that sticks to sell the sovereign citizen, you go from that to putting me in the Herald Sun next to Desi Freeman in Victoria when I live in North Queensland, with a professor from New South Wales now writing books and having scholars' nights, when they haven't even bothered to talk to me. Ask me my side, see what's not on record. And this is the problem, with the prosecutor at the click of a pen can say, right, we're going to prosecute you, drag it out for 2 years, and then walk in and go, we've got no evidence to provide. Sorry about that. And they're done.
And it's amazing how often that kind of thing seems to happen too. Like they're weaponizing the legal system. And why is that not being reported on? Why is it not being reported on, the abuse of power?
8 years. Yep.
Yeah.
4 times over 8 years. The irony is the big criminal matter that I've been fighting for 3 years, that's actually now flipped on its head, and the person that made the vexatious call that created all of that has now been charged. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen at my judicial review, but the truth has definitely come out of the fact that I was telling the truth the whole time. So potentially, look, I have to say the local police have been amazing. Finally come to and, really taken things seriously and looked at the evidence, and, that's a really good turnaround to see that happen. And but we have, on the other hand, you've got this personal battle it's not easy.
Yeah.
Right. Constant court and this and not being able to speak and being yelled at and being told I was talking rubbish at my last court appearance, apparently, and I didn't understand what prima facie evidence means, and I also didn't understand what DV means, and I was literally re-victimised in the court.
Yeah, and while they're victimising you, do they offer to take the time to go, well, you don't understand because this is how it actually works? They don't seem to do that, do they? It's more like an intimidation tactic.
Yeah, well, in the one breath they said that I understood something, and then in the next breath said I didn't understand it because I'm a self-represented litigant. So in the judgment, it actually doubles up. But then you have someone like Robert Sudi, who is a self-proclaimed sovereign citizen, who fought some parking tickets whilst homeless on a river with his family, has now escalated himself to some scholarship with these international star. But in the same breath, he's actually forgetting that people have families. People have lives. They have businesses. They have a reputation. And to do something as childish as making a rap song or collating people together that don't even know each other to build his own narrative, to sell his own subscription, to pat himself on the back because he thinks he's an international fucking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Right? So he's actually meets all the definitions of online bullying. You know, it's one thing to have an opinion, like in that video. I do believe I didn't start this, and I'm pretty sure the other people in the videos didn't start it, and how we've come to the same opinion, not knowing each
He's
other.
a serial pest, serial troll, getting around there just trying to get reactions, and stupidly we're giving him the time of day. But at the end of the day, he's a menace to society, and
That's right.
probably time that something's done about him.
Yeah, 100%. So I have made a serious complaint. I'm not going to put it on live where that's gone. But at the end of the day, if you don't stand up to a bully, the bully will continue. So I said I wasn't going to have anything, give him any space for a month. In that month, he's done 3 videos. And then prior to that, he was saying, oh, Heidi's ongoing harassment of me, blah, blah, blah. And then I know, right?
You gotta love it. Like, he's the one who's gone out of his way to provoke you, but you're harassing him. There's your delusion.
Yep. And I went onto my partner's phone because someone told me that he'd done something, and I was Googling something, and then there it comes up in the Freeman Delusional, whatever he's bloody called, I don't care, Facebook page. So you get to read the beginning snippet. So it's not, you Google my name and it comes up. He's obviously got a feed where he's coming to the top of where my name is, algorithms or however that works. And I did go back and say things. Well, next thing you know, he blocks you and he does this, and then he comes up with a fake profile underneath. You might see some matching friends. The recent one was a guy called John Mole, whatever his name is. John O'Neill, which there was a John O'Neill from here, but what he doesn't realize is I'm actually personally friends, and I know this John O'Neill, right? And it's not him. And I'm pretty sure John O'Neill didn't go to whatever girls' grammar in the profile, right? So he's actually talking to himself, but in the comments is further harassment, right? And there's a case, Fairfax versus Voller. And if you're the author of a page and you're not monitoring serious defamation, you're liable. But who is he? Who is he? What's his address? What's his business? We don't know.
Yeah.
So, I think I don't want to give him time, but I want people to know that this is not okay in any way, shape, or form to make videos of people skewing the truth, making your own narrative on things that are verbatimly not correct to what was said. If he didn't like what I said, that's okay. That's his opinion. But to merge it into a childish online bullying campaign that he obviously was funny, it's not funny. It's very distressing. And it certainly meets all the elements of a crime.
Serious stuff. And I mean, he's clearly trying to get reactions out of a lot of people. So, it's not a case of, as he pretends to be, studying this phenomenon or whatever it is he reckons he's doing. I haven't given the idiot much time myself, but, to see that he just pushes and pushes and pushes until somebody gives him the reaction. And, unfortunately, that's kind of what we're doing here. But I'd like to think it's the last time we actually discuss this moron until, it's like, cool, this is the result of what's going on. But we might address it once or twice.
Relationship something is, let's say it was something else. I couldn't give it the time of day. But unfortunately for me, this has led to newspaper articles. This has led to court case related matters that are sub judice before the court at the moment. This is related to media. This is related to television. This is related to scholars and deans writing articles about my ongoing court cases at the moment. And with a verdict of guilty basically in these things when nothing's been decided yet. There's not even a trial set yet. So, and I have a strikeout application on the 1st of December in regards to it all. So, you know, it's wrong. And I hope he stops, and I hope he realizes that he does it. I mean, he put up a picture of himself the other day and said, this guy's a traitor. And he went on with some other people calling him a traitor, and then he put my you know, rap song in the middle of it, and Rod Cullerton and Wayne Glue and Jody Lowe and Desi Freeman, and he merged it all together. Why?
Yeah.
What's his purpose? To sell something. If he doesn't like me, I don't care. But to actually make up a false narrative, that's not just a little bit of online bullying. It's disgusting. And look at what he's probably going to do with this. He's probably got a whole new video, and he thinks it's
probably thinks this is hilarious. He probably, who knows, probably sits there naked beating himself off over it. You know, it seems to be that kind of person. You know, God knows. You know, like it's a scary thought entering a mind like that.
Yeah, well, his page is just ongoing stuff about me. You know, surely, you know, why are these particular people being targeted? You know, especially me, because I'm before the court. I'm not challenging constitutional issues. I'm actually battling my own matters.
Yeah.
Which he fails to, which he keeps going on. He fails to get it right. I won my first case in 11 minutes after 24 months. I settled out of court with the state in my favour. I had 3 other matters before the court that were withdrawn after 2.5 years. That's nearly 8 years combined. The morning of trial. What? Because I'm a sovereign citizen? Did that happen because he thinks that I'm delusional and I'm a sovereign citizen? I've never not turned up to court, right?
And nor have we ever claimed that as a real functional title. You know, sovereign citizen is just stupid.
No, we know this, and it's a label, and that's defamation, and that's serious defamation, because up until entering the court system because of a false arrest, I didn't know the court system, and what I've seen in that court system and what I've heard in that court system, the system, if we could just use the Justices Act and we could just get that part right, or not be abused when we walk into court because we might not know the law, or we might attempt to try and do something that we're not abused or publicly humiliated.
Yeah, these systems are supposed to be fair and impartial, but it seems to be, you know, the more that time goes on, the more we start to see that, hang on, there is something seriously wrong here.
Well, it's a breach of your human rights. It's a breach of your human rights under Section 31 that you're entitled to a fair trial, something along those lines. I can't tell you what it is verbatimly, but we're entitled to freedom of speech too. What he's doing is not freedom of speech. It's character assassination. Yeah. You know, very big difference. And I just wanted to get that on record today, because one part of me, I started laughing when I first saw it.
Oh, it's pretty funny. It's like it's a cacophony, that's for sure. Like, it's just a clutter of mess. It's clearly, you know, put together by somebody who has no idea what they're doing. But you know, best of luck.
He's probably put it to AI and said do this, but I do have some
from my audio engineering, it's just a little background bit of music, and he's just slapped audio over the top of it, you know. It's very, very cut and pasty. I just found audio software last week, sort of a job, you know. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, he's probably just
production-wise, it's very bad.
Hey, but look, I've got cement in my boots, and I'm going to keep the truth is the most important thing to me, and I will prevail in battling my own personal issues and what have you, whilst navigating the screaming and yelling and where we're supposed to have court etiquette that the actual people sitting in front of you usually are the ones that have none, and go through it that way. But I do feel for people that he may target that couldn't see the funny side, or might have a job and might lose their job because their boss might see it, or, if you were working
but that's the purpose, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's people like that just want to, it's tall poppy syndrome in a sense. Like, hang on, look, here's people standing up doing great work and standing up for themselves. Quick, cut them down. That's what it's really about. Obviously the system itself has a great many things to lose from people, the people standing up and going, we're not going to be cash cows anymore. We're not putting up with this crap anymore. It's always about control. The world itself has been geared that way from so many different angles, so many different places for far too long. And, the human race is finally standing up and saying we've had enough. And obviously there's a lot of people who have a very vested interest in making sure all the cash cows stay on their little respective human farms doing as they're told.
So recently I can't speak about it, but the individual who started the last set of court proceedings, that's now been charged. I guess I had my day in court to go, well, there it is. It's whatever. So the same magistrate that told me to get myself together, that I was full of rubbish, then when we've got the truth in hand, she's like, oh, I understand more than you would know. And I'm like, it's not about you. Right? It's not about you. You're trying to now be my friend, and so I can relate to you.
Understand more than you would know. Okay, I like that one.
He's been in the same situation where because I said, now you can see this. You threw out this and you did this and you didn't listen to me. And she said, oh, it's not really like that, but you understand. I understand more than you'd know, indicating that she'd been through a similar situation. And
to me, it almost seems to indicate holding on to that power, and that they still know better than you, and you're just a little person. You're just a little cash cow. Can I give you a little rub behind the ears while I tell you what a good beast you are?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely saw some compassion there. I definitely had a different interaction with her when she did acknowledge that potentially in her own way that, oh, now there's a bigger picture here that I've been trying to save for the last 3 years, and there it is on paper. And she just said, this is terrible. This is really bad. And it's to be dealt with, and it has been.
Well, at least that's one good thing. I still can't get past the condescending comment myself, but yeah.
Yeah. I understand more than you will know.
Yeah.
It's not about her, right?
There.
And she's not there to understand, and it's not about her. She's there to be impartial and preside.
Yeah.
But I think the empathy came in because when I think I spoke for nearly an hour of my own exoneration as to how it all has gone wrong and how I've ended up in the paper and the media and all of this because of this vexatious individual who actually in my trial said he wanted to kill me on oath, and he wasn't on oath in front of the magistrate, and he wasn't held in contempt of court. He was seen as a credible witness.
Wow,
so, yeah. So anyway, he's clearly not. Does your head in? It does. So, when you're talking about emotional things like that, and you've got someone like Rob Sudi, doing that, I laughed it off, right? I actually went,
we had a good chuckle. When we first discussed this, we were rolling around in tears, at just how pathetic and sad this little individual is, So you got to feel sorry for the demons that must wrestle through such a twisted mind.
Yeah, but then you have things like Dolly's Dream, where it could take one individual that doesn't cope with it in a laughing matter, or, it did, afterwards I went away and I'm like, who does this? That's the bit that gets what sort of individual? And that makes you feel sick because they actually thrive on the demise of others.
Yeah.
And I can tell you there's not one perfect person out there, and I don't care who you are. right?
Yeah, well,
No one.
so we're still on this earth, so we haven't gotten it right yet.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's not a perfect individual. So
Far from it.
rather, deflect off him and what he's doing and really run people down. You know why? So he can make some money. So who's the individual here that is literally a leech on the system?
Yep.
Because he's
Well, I look forward to seeing, what comes of it all.
Yeah.
Should be
He
entertaining.
won't be able to help himself, right? His smartest thing is go away, as it says in the actual rap video, go and pick on somebody else.
Yeah.
That wasn't enough. He could even put it in his own video that said, go away and pick on someone else.
Yeah. And
It's on record.
I look at it and I fail to see how it helps him in any way either. Like,
I don't get it.
What he presents actually makes him look bad in every way. I can't see how it helps his case, and I don't understand how anybody could watch that and go, "Oh, well done, that's a wonderful piece of art." It was utter garbage. It was, if like I said, just found the audio software last week. Briefly figured out a few things and slapped something together on a timeline, but it hasn't really taken a lot of thought from an artistic point of view to say, what's the message you're conveying? That you're such a serial pest that everybody calls you a fuckwit? Like, how is that helping you at all?
Where he put everyone together. It actually, I think Rob Cullerton, don't quote me on it because I've only really watched it once.
I've got it here actually. We can get what Rob himself said. Oh, hang on. Sorry. We want this one.
Of December, and it seems that
so we'll get straight up to.
And I want people to stop shooting from the hip, especially a guy called Rob Sudi, who I believe is a guy that's had a head-on collision with a cobweb, seems to come out and be an expert on everything. But if he was to take the time and go and have a look at the rules and the Bankruptcy Act, you must perform and undertake personal service. I have refiled back into the federal court now, saved up my money, and I'm challenging it within my confinements, and I will win it. There is no question about that.
And that's all he's posted up. Again, I don't see how that helps him other than, oh, look, they mentioned me. Like, it's such an attention-seeking attitude is all I can see.
Yeah, and then I think
so
another guy, I think someone told me it's Stephen Spears, but I don't know because I don't really follow all of that. He actually says he's a traitor, and then he puts Desi Freeman in there, and then he puts Wayne Glue in there, and no one's saying anything nice about him.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah. Mystery. Bit of a mystery, like, I reckon even if asked, he probably couldn't come up with a half decent answer himself.
I'll invite him on the show.
Well, I'd be very curious to see what he's got to say. Why not? Come on, Mr. Rob Sudi. Yeah. Let's see if that face you put on your profile really is you. Do you have the stones to come and have a yarn with Heidi here? Let's talk this out. Who the fuck are you? What is it you think you're trying to achieve? Can you actually face up to this, or is there something seriously wrong with you that you maybe want to go seek therapy instead? Don't know. But hey, if you're keen, we can have him on if he wants to reach out. He surely knows how to find us. He spends enough time trolling through everything that we do, so surely he, knows how to find us. You want to drop us a line and actually have a real intelligent debate about this? I'm more than happy to see it.
To have a go at him. We're not here to have a fight with him online. Yeah. It really is to have a conversation. Say, look, we're all adults. Let's try and come to some sort of truce. Let's know what you're really about, because we don't know what that is.
Yeah. Is it a real name? Is it a real thing? Like, I mean, this kind of a character would probably be using pseudonyms and fake pictures. based on the way he carries on, you know, like this is like the attitude conveyed. I doubt you could trust anything that come out of the guy's mouth.
Well, the challenge is there. I have offered him a challenge on a different thing, and because I blocked him on my page and he wants me to unblock him, but then he blocks when you return, you know, when you're on his page and you answer him back with something, he blocks your questions and, you know, he monitors his page. So, no, I think the only way to do this is live.
Yep.
And with respect and decently, with manners.
Yeah, we can get Rod Colton in as well if he likes. You know, we can get all his favourite friends. We can all come in and have a bit of a yarn about it and see what comes of it.
My guess is that it won't happen.
I'm inclined to agree. The pathological, you know, way he's acted previously would seem to indicate he won't be doing it. But you know, hey, the offer's there. Let's see, is he man enough? Does he have the testicular fortitude?
Testicular fortitude. Anyway, I'm deadly serious about it. Like, you know, I just don't. I think you've got to confront the bully, see if he's an adult, see if he can actually have a conversation. If we're wrong, happy to be wrong, happy to take what he's got to say. Don't have to agree with him, right? But I want to know why he spends time conflating or deflating or changing narratives and facts. Well, not right. That's my big thing. What's your game?
That's a good question, Mark McDonald. Is Sudi short for pseudonym? I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
Well, I've pointed out before there's multiple different people that seem to have the same line of thinking or same narrative or same words as his, and saying that they were
multiple profiles and
he came back and, you know, made a joke about that. So
trying to cover up for what you've observed.
Anyway, I'm going to have to get going because I have to get in the car to go and pick up a little puppy.
No worries, then. We have a good one. Thanks for coming on. And not a problem. So what was that? The name of the dog? Liberty.
So Justice and Liberty. Yep.
There you go. Nice. Awesome. Well, good luck with the new pup. Hopefully, you know, toilet trained quickly. It's I have noticed it's quicker to toilet train puppies than it is children, but you know,
you got a few of those, haven't you, Mark?
Yeah, definitely. It's there's one now.
It's easier to give them
not running up and down the hallway banging things this time round, so it's all good.
All right. Well, you look after yourself. Take care of your back, and thanks for the time. And I wanted to actually show something. So when the Legal Service Commissioner raided my house with 11 people for 9 hours recently, even though the investigator fell asleep and turned my video off, and a lot of other things went wrong. They've returned a piece of evidence that they took from my house, which I think they got out of the rubbish bin. It's exhibit number 4 with some names who I don't actually know what they are. They could be actors' names. I don't know what I was actually doing at the time. They could be old students of mine. They've returned it because they don't need it anymore. So can you imagine going into court and going, yes, we have the evidence here. She's definitely been giving legal advice. I mean, why would you?
Like they even ironed it. Like you can see the creases through it, but it looks like it's been ironed.
No, it hasn't. It's just me being flattened.
It's just flattened. Just the way it's looking here.
Why would you take that in a raid? Why would you? What gain would you have?
Yeah.
I think they might be grasping at straws here a little bit.
Quite possibly.
So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, no charges have been laid against me, what have you, but they are contacting people and actually through email and letters and asking to these individuals to give them a call or an email that they want to have a chat. Yeah. I don't think you're allowed to do that. I guess you can contact somebody, but, you know, it's a breach of privacy. And I know a couple of friends of mine are really, really upset about it. If you want to do it, go through the proper channels, ask me in for an interview, have it all recorded, give me my rights.
Yeah.
Don't try and just sort of conjure me into this casual conversation to see if I'm going to dib a dob on something that I really don't know anything about.
Yeah, it's just trickery. They're just desperately trying to trick people into doing themselves in. Seen it all before.
Well, I guess the injunction is a big thing because it's a year down the track now, and that whole getting that girl out of jail situation. She's had all her charges withdrawn. They were murder charges. They've all been withdrawn. All of that is she's been found not guilty. So I don't even know what the purpose of the now injunction is. And I'm still getting people contact me because the Courier Mail keeps advertising it.
Yeah.
So the very thing that people advertise to be an advocate, the paper is advertising.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I think the new year we'll see a few changes. I've got a judicial review going in now with all the new information that individual is potentially non-compos mentis and did make a vexatious call. And the evidence given in court was also potentially perjured by individuals. The senior sergeant of the station at the moment is actually collating that information for me to give me the exact documents. So it's really good.
Yeah.
So he can't necessarily assist me, but he can give me the truth of what the documents say. So that's good.
Nice. All right. Well, I better let you get to that puppy, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
See you next time, Rob. Let's see you on the show.
Yeah, exactly. See that testicular fortitude. All right. See you later, Heidi. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of all we've really got today. Just want to sort of get in there and talk about that. But there was one article I did notice the other day that I thought might be worth having a look at. It was Pauline Hanson praises Donald Trump's controversial policies at Mar-a-Lago conference while slamming Labor and coalition. Well, it's generally what politicians do, they slam each other, don't they? Very interesting, though, that Pauline Hanson went to this little gathering there at Mar-a-Lago. Unlike Albo, she appears to have paid for it herself. She's not doing it on the public purse. I think Albo's clocked up, close to $1 million in expenses in the last few weeks. So he's done well for himself as always. But it's an interesting article because the way it was first advertised on X is I can't believe Pauline Hanson's done this. But when you go through and you read it, it's kind of like they've used the inflammatory, let's get the leftist viewer in here. But at the same time, it seems to go through and show that, as the Liberal Party is falling apart at the seams, I don't think it can contain itself in its willful destruction of itself at the moment. Pauline Hanson is stepping up to, fill that gap as voters who have lost faith in the alleged liberties provided by the Liberal Party, are going for something that actually is a little bit more on that note, But yeah, she's as I understand, hasn't actually met with President Trump, but has certainly gotten up and done her thing, and it's pissing people off. Pointing out the climate change global hoax, that Trump said it. Most of us have said it. It's pretty hard to have faith in things when you've been told ever since you're in primary school the world's going to burn and all this other crap, and you look around and go, nothing's really changed, guys. I'm sorry, but your narrative's really not standing up, But, statements such as Australia, on the other hand, has become an economic and social tinderbox that was created by successive Labor and coalition governments. What else did I notice in here that was pretty interesting too? Putting the country on a dangerous path, definitely so. Australia is a nation that produces 1.1% of the world's carbon dioxide. Why the hell are we getting, done in for this stuff? But yeah, it currently governs on 34 1.4%, you know, the second lowest winning margin in Australian history. There's an achievement for him, you know. Under like we've been flooded with 740,000 migrants a year, you know, despite the housing crisis, you know. Mass immigration is one of the key reasons, you know, continuously pointed out. But, you know, what was also interesting when going through the feed that day was that I found this rather disturbing video from a veteran. I think it was his 100th birthday, I believe. And what he had to say, World War II vet, is quite disturbing.
Sunday mean for you? What is your message?
My message is I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
That's pretty damning stuff. I don't believe it's Australia, but what I find interesting is while he's saying that, you have a look at some of the stuff that's written down the bottom here, you know, still talking about pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and all that sort of stuff, while this guy's saying this sort of stuff, you know, PM angry and frustrated over mistaken release of 2 inmates. You know, I mean, yeah, any wonder the old mate is, you know, like, what the hell did we fight for? You know, look at the world they've created. You know, and you know what's happening here in Australia is happening throughout all the Western nations. You know, it's the funny thing. Like it's so obvious now that, you know, we've all got to fight the same problems, and they've all been created by government listening to UN dogma. You know, I've said it before, say it again, and I'll probably have to continue to say it over and over again. You know, and this is why they want to get the youth on board, those who haven't had the life experience to comprehend what's really going on. Because when you go and have a look at somebody who was back alive during World War II and fighting some real battles there, they have a different perspective on the world today because they've got life experience behind them to see what the world was like and the train wreck that it has become thanks to bad governance. Thanks to people selling out their own people for their own personal benefit to make sure that we remain the cash cow. That's what it's all about, keeping us cash cows. You know, it's a theory I formulated a long time ago, and it all made sense when I first started renting. You just realize I'm going to work to continuously pay for a place that I haven't got enough time to stay in because I'm too busy working to pay for it. The logic is just astounding, you know, and sitting there in that realization of why am I doing that? You know, I'm desperately trying to pay, you know, even when you're trying to buy your own house, it's the same thing. You know, I'm trying to buy my own prison cell now instead of continuously pay for it endlessly, you know, like, you know, and how happy are we in our little prison cells? You know, I would look around and go, geez, I'd like to do this and fix this up a little bit. I'd like to do that and sort things out a little bit more. But, you know, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to ever get the economic stability to do so. You watch the economy continuously crash. You sit there and think, geez, 5 years ago, I could have done this, but I can't now because of what Albo and the Liberal Party and all the rest of these idiots have done. They still haven't been held to account for the crimes that they've committed. It's nuts. That's nuts. And yeah, Mark's confirming spent over 900,000 since September. There you go. So close to $1 million. Much like I said. So yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. G'day, Purple Rigger. Happy Sunday, mate. It sticks out like a country toilet to what's going on. Yeah, it's nuts, and it's so painfully obvious. But we're all supposed to, you know, not see this somehow. We're all supposed to just go along with the bullshit narrative. I don't understand how you can. Like, there's a delusion in itself, the ultimate delusion, going along with this friggin' narrative without having the intelligence to see that how could it not be planned for this to be happening? You know, to have every country have the same friggin' problems, mass immigration, shitty quality of life, no money to be able to afford things, you know, like every country, same problem. You've got to be shitting me. That's can only be done by design. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick one today. So I'm going to go and have some breakfast. So Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next week. Not sure exactly what's going on. A few things in the works, and we'll see what comes out. But yeah, I should see you next week in some way, shape, or form. Take it easy.